Meet Kojiro, the blue Kuko. A cute little fella for sure, but also the consumer of many hours of my life. I made a video about it. Here it is. A while back, the Switch had an update that added Nintendo 64 emulation with specific titles. That got me thinking about an Ocarina of Time ROM hack that I was meaning to play. You see, I was interested because The Legend of Zelda: The Missing Link takes place between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, tying the two stories together. But the most important thing that got me to play was that it was listed as compatible on the 0.6 version of the PlayStation Vita Nintendo 64 emulator. That's right, the PlayStation Vita. If I can play a game in a very inefficient or complex way, where the setup is super long and kinda frustrating, I'm more inclined to do it for some reason. I'll play 4 Swords Adventures with 5 TVs and 4 Game Boy players. I'll work to get games running on the Steam Deck when my gaming computer sits idling right next to me. And I'll collect silly peripherals for outdated consoles and play older games on original hardware when I can. In a weird way, I think I kind of enjoy troubleshooting. Even if it gets annoying, finally getting stuff working feels awesome. Setting up the Missing Link ROM hack on the Vita went pretty well. My wonderful and very patient friend was nice enough to sit with me and do some, and by some I mean all, of the gameplay capturing footage. So most of these clips are from Project 64 running on Windows, and a few Vita clips are sprinkled in too. I wanted to go back and experience Ocarina of Time for the first time again. With the knowledge of having beat the game, it's still fun, but it's totally different from the first run. The Missing Link is kinda like a DLC just dropped for an over 20-year-old game. While most of the items in the gameplay are the same, areas and puzzles are new. That gives a sense of discovery, but also a comfortable familiarity too. After the Great Deku Tree died, there was nobody left to protect Kokiri Forest. A demon started stealing fairies from the Kokiri, and Link is here to stop it. As soon as I fix my controller setup. Okay, there. Wait. Okay, there. Finally back home after saving Hyrule, Link talks to this Kokiri girl to find out that Mido has been talking some mad shit. You know, I never did like the way that he angrily shuffled back and forth. It's just bad vibes for sure. We use Saria's song to open a door to get the Blade Beam. It's the same as the original Legend of Zelda and can be used when at full health or by doing a charged spin attack. Looking around the Kokiri homes rewards us with a piece of heart. Maybe you're supposed to jump up in a special way, just do a backflip, that'll work. Finally, Mido comes to terms with his true self. He was always a hater, and now he knows it. We can continue into the deep woods. The tutorials are just like a real Nintendo game, reminding you twice within a few minutes of how to use your new attack. And that's probably for the best, because if anyone mashed through the first text box, just a silly mashing person, that definitely wouldn't be me, well, you know, that mashing person would have assumed that you had to be at full health to shoot the Blade Beam, like in the original Zelda or Smash Ultimate. The second little nudge of a tutorial is not obstructing the path in any way, it's just an optional sign that you can read, which is helpful and I approve of it. The Deep Woods has a spooky remix of the Lost Woods theme. It sets a nice ominous tone. The Blade Beam has a fire effect to it, which you see when fighting the Deku Scrubs. That gives a little hint to try it on an ice switch. To stop God's most annoying Deku from keeping a door locked on you, you will push blocks onto flowers and you will like it. It's a weird way of saying it. It's just a little puzzle. It's a little baby puzzle. Do the baby puzzle. Then we got a 23 is number 1 hint calling back to anyone who beat the first dungeon of Ocarina of Time. Cool. Saria's soul is in the sword, which is why it's soul charged. I appreciate the effort of making the cutscene, even if Saria looks a bit off-putting in Sword Ghost form. It's nice. Not the Sword Ghost form, just the cutscenes. There's a lot of effort in there. Epona's song is available, and if we had a bottle, we can get milk from this cow by playing that song for her. That sounds insane. And it's not really mandatory, but it's just something you can do. You can play that song for the cow, and it will give you milk, and it will heal you. But for now, we march into the rupee grinding area and fall into a giant magic pot. We already have a good enemy variety super early on with Keese, Dekus, Redeads, and those little explodey green guys. I don't know what their name is. What are those little explodey green guys? What do I even Google? Majora's Mask Enemy List. Dodongo, Green, Choo-Choo, Gwei? What the fuck is a Gwei? No, that's not it. It's a bird. No, lever? That's what that's called? What the fuck? I never called it a lever. I didn't really call it anything. Zelda Dungeon is sick. This is very helpful. There you go. Baby Dodongo. That's what it is. Baby Dodongos. Wow, they're so cute. We use the Blade Beam's fire element to light a torch, and rolling with a Deku Stick opens the way to Gerudo's guarding a chest. We don't know what to do here yet, so we'll be back. We head into a Keese fight club and the game freezes. You know, I had a more stable experience on the Vita, save for one major issue. I'll get into that later, but it was a major issue. Yeah, like I said, this recording is from PC right now, plus my very super nice friend is getting all the recording for me. So he's doing all the gameplay, and I'm jotting down notes like a madman. He fucking hated Keese. So we're doing Keese Hell House twice, and that was a test of patience. The reward is a second heart piece. Hey, look, a bomb shoe shop. You know what? They're closed. To get access to a ladder, we explode a rock with a high-powered laser. No, it was just the blade beam. The library area plays the house theme, but more quietly and on a harp because it's a library and libraries are quiet, and I think that's very cute. Using a giant theme park-esque map, we saw there was a secret passage in the library, right there. It's just hidden enough to pay it no mind at first glance, but when you're looking for a secret, it sticks right out. So I'd call that really good design, I think. Checking out the big red crystals and blue fire, I knew we needed a bottle to get past them. I said that like it made any semblance of sense to my buddy who has not beaten Ocarina of Time. So if you didn't know, the Ice Cave in Ocarina of Time uses this same puzzle, so previous knowledge of Zelda will help. My friend has a brain blast and decides to blow up these rocks with the little exploding green guys, and then the rocks don't blow up, so that sucks. The ladder broke, but we found a button. Aw man, we gotta hit a switch to get on a cool little moving platform, but it's just too far away. Is that Blade Beam? Oh my god, oh my god! Alright, boss time, but we froze again. I seriously did not have this much trouble with the Vita version. Boss time again, and we get the best item in the entire game, capable of fighting the great King of Evil and holding bugs, the bottle. We can solve that little puzzle now by getting some blue fire, melting some red ice, and hitting a switch that sends everyone in the room running for their lives from zombies. That gets us a heart piece. Now I know putting people in life or death situations for personal gain sounds bad, but when you really think about it. Alright, let's continue. Humanity restored, all that good stuff, Redeads are people again, and forget about the Redeads that we killed earlier. The Bombchu business is booming, and my notes say, light a small man on fire. I'll just ignore that then. We collect some rupees and room temperature milk just in case. Oh, and there was this wacky little dude who wanted us to blow up a wall, so we do that now and get a Deku Pass. Old Lazy Bones over here saying imaginary guards are stopping her from getting a chicken's birth certificate, so I guess we'll do it. Cool statue, I will blade beam it. This dude hates our shoes. We buy bottle number 2 from a Deku Scrub and fill it with bugs, then we continue on our way. We also buy a piece of heart from the Deku Scrub. This part is important. I thought it was an emulation error that the dude was flashing blue, but when you talk to him, he says that he's eating Deku Nuts. So Deku Nuts stun enemies. When enemies are stunned, they turn blue. So he's stunning himself with every Deku Nut he eats. If you don't think that's a good joke, you're wrong. We needed to collect 20 Deku Nuts to trade for a bunny hood, and there's no issue with that, since farming in the nearby Deku Bava Garden is super quick. I appreciate having an objective to fill an item to max capacity, but also respecting the player's time here is just so nice, so thank you for that. I've always loved the bunny hood in Smash Bros. Melee and Majora's Mask, so making it an integral item to completing the story is awesome, because it doesn't just unlock the next area, but gives a permanent upgrade to running speed and jump distance. The bunny hood is used to make progress in the main story and also side stuff like this long jump for a heart piece. Jumping on over to the ranch with a bunny hood, we get the birth certificate for Lazy Bones. Also, this little girl says we're wearing bunny ears when we're not wearing bunny ears, so... liar. This weirdo has two pictures of Dampé the Gravekeeper side by side. They kinda look like they were taken seconds apart from each other too, at slightly different angles. Maybe just pick the better picture and stick with that one. I know it's not my house, but I'm just kind of judgy. Also, the Cluck Cluck Ranch music is pretty soothing, and I really like it. We race Epona back to the ranch, but she got really competitive. Okay, this is where that major Vita issue I mentioned earlier comes in. I had my first playthrough on the Vita and finally got to the ranch. Hoping for a heart piece as a prize, I started the horse race right away. I won the race, and then the game locked up and a bunch of numbers popped up all over the screen. I thought that it crashed, but the music was still playing, so I wasn't really entirely sure. Trying to wait it out shows a little dev message. I thought that was interesting, but that doesn't help me. I reset the game and decided to continue the main story without doing the horse race. I was still amazed to be playing a Nintendo 64 ROM hack on the PlayStation Vita, so I'm happy. I just happened upon a spot that requires a cuckoo to glide to the next area, but I can't take any of them out of the ranch. After checking a walkthrough online, it turns out a specific cuckoo can be taken out of the ranch, and that's Kojiro. You know, the blue cute one. The way to get him is by winning the horse race that made the game hang on a debug looking screen forever. Okay, so that's a problem. So I tried a few more times to get around the crash, finishing the race with the bunny hood on and off, losing the race once, then winning on the second try. No dice. I tried to implement cheats to fly across the gap. Thing is, I'm not well versed in using emulator cheats, so in the middle of searching how they work, I had a better idea. Check for updates. Turns out I was playing an older version, so I looked online, found the newer 1.4 version, set that up, replayed the game all the way up to that point, and it still crashes on Kojiro. Okay, now I'm not even thinking about this incredibly high effort and fun Zelda mod, I've just hit my personal final boss of getting this damn chicken. And why do I need to beat this specifically on the PlayStation Vita? Is it because I'm angry and I want to win? I think to myself, I want to beat the Nintendo, but the cold fact is nobody cares but you. Joker moment aside, Kojiro is pure of heart and my best friend. But I'm starting to get a bit of a negative Pavlovian training here. Anytime I want to unlock Kojiro, I get punished, so there had to be a better way. I found the compatibility list for the Vita Nintendo 64 emulator, and there's a note specifically about this issue with a save state attached. Thank you. Thank goodness I don't have to play the game again, because I overwrote my save states by accident, and that's not the first time I've accidentally deleted a save. The save state didn't work, but that was a quick fix of just renaming it properly. I tested the save state, and yes, it was the same issue I was having. Okay, so here we are again, but with a guide this time. The accepted solution was change the CPU mode to Interpreter, which emulates most accurately but drops the FPS to slideshow levels. Then you can win Kojiro from the race and save the game through normal means, not a save state. But for whatever reason, my save files would erase after in-game saving, so I couldn't load them. I was also not able to save state and load that save state after getting Kojiro. In my desperation, I looked for a way to cheat the physics by maybe jump slashing in midair, or finding a way to leap off a higher area. Then when I tried to explode myself in midair to damage boost, I remembered this is a mod of Ocarina of Time. A game so beloved it has been speedrun to death. A game so thoroughly picked apart for glitches and exploits that arbitrary code execution is possible. Of course, Link can clear a gap he's not supposed to. I looked around for the method that I deemed most feasible that I actually input correctly, and that was the mega flip. After a bit of practice and a lot of reloading, I actually nailed it. I was deeply moved in my soul to have seen this problem through to the end. So all of this problem on the Vita, this exact same area on Windows 10 running on Project 64, it just worked. No mega flip, no research, just do the horse race, get the chicken, and go. Alright, let's continue. Kojiro gets us a piece of heart, and we get 2 more from delivering the birth certificate and a secret hole in the ground. So here, there's a Bombchu minigame, and the goal is to hit these 2 eyes back to back. We for sure save stated this because we kept missing, and for our sins, we accidentally save stated with no Bombchus and had to go across the universe to a Bombchu shop to buy more. So, that was annoying. But we got the heart piece and won the Bombchu game. So we looked online, and those rocks that couldn't get blown up by the little green exploders can actually be blown up by the little green exploders. And those bugs we had in the bottle got us the final heart piece. We used Kojiro here to cross the gap, just like intended, and no mega flip required. Now, on to the new dungeon. The first thing that sticks out are the doors. They show a hand reaching for a fairy, which is on theme, super neat, I appreciate the detail. The boss demon turned a bunch of people into Skulltulas, so when you find them throughout the dungeon, they help you out by giving you a key. Having these people with a direct connection to the story reinforces how evil the boss is, while raising the stakes by giving you more people that you might be able to save. Having a bit more story fed to us as we grabbed keys and made progress through the dungeon kept us motivated and interested a lot more than the small chests giving out keys in Ocarina of Time. The middle of the dungeon has a big elevator, which is a pretty impressive set piece. In this room, the camera changes to show a giant statue with big ol' eyes. That's the tip-off that there's a puzzle. But the giveaway is that Bombchus are in the pots for this room. You know there's a puzzle when you break pots and Bombchus come out. So we just bombed those eyes. A crystal switch turns red or blue to show which color walls are lowered. It's also helpful to have a blue wall in the corner of the room to understand the switch's purpose immediately. There's a lot of jumping around in this dungeon, and I'm all for it. Rolling before each jump gives a bit of extra distance. With the bunny hood already giving a bit of extra distance, you go like, you fly, man, it's crazy. There's a switch on the side of this wall. We had to look off the edge to find it, but Bombchus in the pots nudged us toward looking around thoroughly until we found it. The fucked up room here... So there's this room with platforms all wonky, and it made the Stalfos fight like a lot harder than it should have been, but it was novel, and we got a key for it. The game tells you what room you're in on the bottom right of the screen, and that can be pretty helpful when referring back to the map trying to get somewhere specific. There's a fucking roach. Got his ass. Oh, Jesus. I hate bugs. Oh, fuck. There's a small one. Now, for the new item showcase. The magic hourglass moves Link back in time a few seconds. The very room you find it in contains a puzzle to learn to use it. Fantastic design in this dungeon. It's able to communicate hints and guide the player without making them feel like any solution is totally free. I really like the magic hourglass because it's cool to see it just functioning. Link moves back in time. And there are a couple hiccups here and there, but overall it's sick. The little touch that I love is that it gives a Song of Time blue spiral effect on the screen, the one from Majora's Mask when you go back in time. That's super cool. Having the magic hourglass the same color as the big green box is a pretty helpful hint too. Walking into a narrow passage and seeing a climbable wall leads one to go right on up, but the Skulltulas start making noise and that clues you in that something is blocking the way. Stop for a second, take care of them, and there's no need to be bonked off the wall as you climb up the first time. Got the boss key. The dungeon map shows a big unexplored basement, leaving you to figure a way down there. I felt pretty smart to use the elevator along with the hourglass. It makes sense. Nice puzzle. The Wallmaster boss was awesome. They split up and filled the room with enemies, making for a hectic and fun battle. The boss started grabbing and growing and literally throwing fucking hands. Boss time. First off, Arborachnid sounds like a Zelda boss name, so nice work. Arborachnid's design is creepy and fits into the dungeon aesthetic perfectly. The battle music mixed with Saria's song works great, and the themes of the story and the setting, it all just comes together. The further away you go, the safer you are, but getting close is necessary to attack its weak point. Gotta watch for those spider legs sticking towards the outer ring, because they move quickly and do damage. It is a bit annoying to get hit by the legs bumping into you, but without that, the boss would pose little threat and just be a moving puzzle. Phase 2 added eye lasers, and my dumb brain thinks that is the coolest thing ever. Now you need to wait until that's on cooldown to use the hourglass to get behind the boss to do damage, and the window of opportunity is a bit tight. It's still manageable, and we beat it on our first try. The final boss was awesome. Hats off to the 3D modelers and the dungeon designers. I never got stuck on a puzzle. The new item worked well enough to go mostly smoothly. Also, the final boss music was great, along with the other new tracks like the Deep Woods. This is a great ROM hack. It's the first I've beat as far as I recall, and even though I basically told you the whole thing, just wait like a little bit, and then you'll forget most of it, and then just play it. You're gonna have a great time. So, thanks for watching. Again, if you're here, I appreciate you. And if you're not here, I still appreciate you, but you won't know it because you didn't hear this. Got 'em. I'll see you in the next one.